It's all bullshit. All the media is bullshit.
Good afternoon. This is the Word here with the lovely, constant
I think of when
Annika.
I had
Always here.
none at
Annika, the
all,
Word regular contributor.
and
Thank you very
I
much
fall
for
asleep
coming today. How are you?
counting my blessings.
I'm fine. So we've got some very interesting
I
topics
think about
to talk about
mercy,
today. We're going to be talking about some
and
entries
I
and exits in the
picture
television world,
curly
and also the dark side of being an Olympic
and
athlete.
one by one I
Yeah, so before we get to that,
as they
of course you ask
slumber
about the
in
snow.
their bed.
It is not snowing yet, but I think that, I hear that it's supposed to snow at any minute.
Just count your
Oh
blessings.
God.
Instead
When will it
of
end?
sheep,
It goes on.
and you fall asleep counting your
And especially in Maryland, where I am, the winter, it just goes on for so long, you know?
Well, there's always tropical weather someplace. Vacation time.
I have a ticket. I do, but what's the latest with you? How have you been?
Things are good.
Things are good, and how are the doggies?
The doggies are wonderful, and we got some new ones into the rescue, and we have some puppies.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Puppies galore.
Well,
Start soon.
so do you have some interesting stuff for Annika's angle today? And you don't really have to look far because so much crazy shit is happening in your state of Florida. You know.
Yes, Florida is known for its insanity. I think the Okeechobee River is Lake Okeechobee, I should say, and I think it's there's something under there making us all crazy.
So give us a little preview of the Annika Zengel stories today.
Well, I thought since Holy is occurring now, that religion might be a fun topic.
Oh yeah, Holy is occurring now. So they're religious themed?
Yes, they are.
Cool.
Because, Easter's coming up. Everyone's on spring break down here. And
Yes, spring break. Although, I always feel like...
happened and Passover's happening.
Yes. I mean, for the Marylanders, this is going to kind of be a sucky spring break, but, what can you do?
Come to Florida, it's always spring break. That's all I have to say.
I know, exactly. Okay, well, we are going to hear Annika Zengel. We're back. That was Baby Aaron on the Word. So, Annika Zengel, religious theme. What stories do you have for us today?
Well, I know it's very tough for everyone to make time for religion in, this crazy world. And for some people,
For religion.
it's wonderful. No, for some people who are very observant, and Sabbath, for, observant Jade, for example, where they have no electricity, no electronic devices from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday, and they really take it seriously.
Yeah.
For some, religion is kind of on the go. And Florida, of course, has to, Jesus, and there's a very, very rich area down here called Sparrow. It's kind of like Columbia, but with more money, just outside of Naples. And they have now a drive-through church. United Methodist Church, and they have drive-through prayer.
Oh, wow.
It is an estero, and basically people stop in, and there apparently happens in other places. It started in Fort Lauderdale. Where else? One in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Idaho. And, one person in there said, according to the article, they've been going through some things and saw the drive-through on the side of the road, and it's a very, very, very busy road. It's called Tamiami Trail. It literally goes from Tampa to Miami. And it's like US 1. It's a very, very big, busy, 6-lane highway thing. But it's with stoplights. So it's very busy. And, kind of, hey, come on in, get a blessing. And drive through. You don't even have to leave your car.
Yeah.
And, it could be good or it could be not good, I guess, depending on your view of religion.
Well, have you gone to this and tried the drive-through prayers?
No, I haven't, but I think I'm going to.
And maybe they can convert an evil Jew like you.
Oh, you know what? We Jesus killers,
Jesus killers, exactly. That's what you are.
According to a lot of these people. But Methodists generally are pretty innocuous.
Methodists are generally very tame, yes.
Yes.
So
I know quite a few. In fact, for Purim, a Methodist friend of mine came to temple with me this week.
Oh, that's awesome.
She had never been to, anything other than a Christian service and wanted to check it out.
Yeah.
She came, and it was actually kind of fun. I wasn't real happy with the service because I don't think they explained the story of Purim. They read, it's called the Megillah, the story of Esther, in Hebrew. It's sung, and, they made it like a little comedy, like a little news broadcast, and it's cute, but they didn't provide any translation. So, if she did a story, it was completely confusing. And I'd never kind of seen that before. So for me, I wasn't thrilled, but my family obviously knows, and we explained it all to her.
Yeah.
She was very intensely amused with the service. So, and then, there's a lot of times, too, there are a lot of different religions. Because of this Pastafarian religion, a man in Australia has taken his driver's license photo with the right to wear a colander on his head.
Oh my, are you kidding me?
I am not.
A colander! That's really cool.
He is a member of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Yeah.
And he has earned the right, it's in Austria, and his head covering is recognized as such in Austria.
Wow.
So he is allowed to wear that. There are, obviously, about the burqa ban in France.
Yes.
So in France, there's a burqa ban, whereas in Australia, he wears a colander on his head.
Well.
And it took him 3 years to get this right, apparently, but.
Oh, but isn't the intent of that religion? It's sort of like a parody, right?
It is. They consider themselves a satire that's supposed to say something. And look, there are the snake-handling pastors. There was one this year who died of a rattlesnake bite.
Oh, this year, really?
God wasn't talking to him. Well, in 2012, late 2012.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fascinated with those.
Well, again, Florida has their share of them. That's not just in Florida. It seems to be a Southern American thing, but still. And then there, of course,
West Virginia, too.
Yeah, all the Jesus and Mary believers, mostly Catholics, how he and she had shown up on food and objects.
Oh, the food, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like in the iron, in a piece of wood, in shower mold. But my favorite one of these is the dog butt. It is literally that. There is a person who has an image of a dog butt, and it looks like the dog's anus has Jesus' head on it. And
oh, God. So, and so that basically people say that these are omens. Is that correct?
Yes, that these are, right. And it really does look like Jesus.
Do you believe that it's an omen?
No. So, as a dirty Jew, and I think he was killed for religious, political reasons, both Jewish and, Roman. The pagans didn't like him either. He was radical. But I also believe that most Christians today do not know the actual religion and don't practice what he preached. So,
yeah, and
personally.
And that is a discussion that we could have for 4 hours, but I agree with you, especially on that last part.
Because he was a Jew, let's face it.
He was a Jew, yes.
He was a Jew, so hatred of Jews he would not be happy with, because he was one.
Okay, so you're saying that you do not believe that is an oracle from the heavens?
No, it's an oracle from a dog's ass.
Well, I think that sounds like
just need to poop.
That sounds like heresy to me, that you don't believe that Jesus personally chose his visage to appear on this dog's behind.
I do not think that, correct. I do not think that Jesus chose to, in his announcement to the world of whatever his announcement might be, by people staring at the anus of a dog. I can go on and on and on with where Jesus' and Mary's images have been found on crabs. And well, there was a crab that shows an image of Jesus, or personally, I think it's more like Osama bin Laden.
Same thing.
No, seriously, it looks like it could be either because it's got the beard thing.
So really, what they misinterpreted this. Really, it's Osama bin Laden communicating with us from the grave.
It could be, and considering he was, lost at sea or buried at sea.
Oh my God! What a better. Of course, he came back as a crab. Yeah. Continue.
Hey, he was crabby in real life, right?
He was very crabby. Crabs are bottom feeders. They may have eaten his body and then consumed his soul. Who knows?
There you go. He walked on over. He did,
Yeah.
want to destroy America, so he got his way over to Washington State, but oh shucks, he got caught by fishermen.
Oh, he was so close.
I did want to bring up one more thing, and I know this is a topic near and dear to your heart, but Paris Hilton has decided now she is going to be a real estate baron in the ways of her grandfather.
I applaud her. I applaud all of her efforts. She is an amazing reality star, fashion icon, pop singer, entrepreneur, businesswoman, retail store operator, DJ, personality icon, socialite, celebutante, and a role for women and humans in general everywhere.
Oh yeah, she's a role on how not to earn your own money.
Oh, I forgot sex tape star. Hey, but she does. Hey, she runs a international chain of retail stores that, sell her wares, and she designs it.
She runs it all, and she proposed the business model, and she does all the grunt work.
Well, as much as any business person does,
Oh, please.
Oh my God, no, seriously, look it up. She has like 120 stores.
I know that, but if she hadn't made a sex tape,
I know.
I wouldn't have had any of it. And I don't
You just sound jealous that she has a. I think you're just jealous that she has a famous sex tape and you don't.
If I wanted to make a sex tape, I could. I choose not to. Thank you very much.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, on that note, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we are going to discuss the changes that the year 2014 will have upon the world of television. What shows will be exiting, what shows will be coming in. I know, so you'll probably have a lot to say about this. So we'll talk about that when we come back. And this is Deslonda Girl on the Wood. Okay, I'm back here with Annika, and we're going to be talking about one of her favorite topics, television. But unfortunately, before we get into this, Annika, you've been a little bit deprived lately, haven't you?
Yeah, I no longer have a lot of television.
So what is that like? Would have the TV on 24 hours a day?
It still kind of is, just Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon Prime 24 hours a day.
Oh, okay.
Mine is still less than half the price of cable.
Wow.
Yeah.
So specifically...
And I really think that, well, we'll get into it.
Yeah, so specifically what we're going to be talking about, what I thought would be kind of interesting to talk about today, is some, now that we're in the early stages of 2014, looking at some shows, and I'm focusing kind of more specifically on the reality and news side, but I'm sure you can bring in other insight because you were a heavy TV watcher of scripted, you're more into scripted shows. But I thought it would be interesting to look at kind of what's coming, what is beginning in 2014, and then what is leaving us in 2014. So just to start off with something, I've seen a few clips of this first one, but basically this is beginning in 2014. It actually began on January 13th. So the first one, it's called Chosen with a Z, and it's one of those like adult cartoons, kind of in the vein of like Family Guy or Futurama, American Dad. And it stars Bobby Moynihan from SNL. I'm sure you're familiar with him.
I love him. I didn't even know that he had a show.
Yeah, so
What network was it on?
It was originally going to be FXX, which I don't even really know what that is, but then they switched it to FX.
I know Edit.
So wait, can you say what's the difference between FXX and FX?
Well, essentially, it's like HBO and HBO2.
Oh, okay. So it's just additional, like, reruns?
XX is supposed to be a little edgier, a little racier.
So when they come out with a third, it'll be FXXX. Is that going to be the porn channel? Okay, so anyways, so Bobby Moynihan voices the main character in Chosen, and so the main character is a gay white gangsta rapper on a quest to rebuild his career after being released from prison.
Oh, now see, I would have liked that.
But now you don't get FX. But anyway, so the series was originally announced as the first original series pickup for FXX, but then they reassigned it. So, I mean, do you when you had TV, I guess, and maybe even now with Hulu, are you a fan of any of the adult style cartoons?
Yeah, absolutely. I used to love some of them. There was one, oh God, I can't remember what the name of it was, where it was a house and they were all these superheroes were thrown together.
Most of what I watch is news, although since I've been moving here, I have been watching more. But I was watching a little bit of Futurama today. I like Futurama. I
love that.
I like The Simpsons.
That was one that was canceled and then came back again.
So yeah, but anyways, back to like Chosen. So it sounds like the reason I brought it up is it sounds like it's not your run of the mill whatever. It sounds kind of like an interesting premise. And the rapper Method Man is also in the voice talent. And so I saw a few clips of this. It doesn't look, I mean, it didn't captivate me that much, but at least it is a creative idea. It's not just doing something. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know, there's never been a show that has a premise like this. So I applaud that creativity, And then there is more derivative things that have begun this year, such as the latest entry in country music television's Redneck series. So this next one is a spin-off of My Big Redneck Wedding, and it's called My Big Redneck Family. So, yeah, and I know, it's probably essentially going to be a knockoff of probably Honey Boo Boo or something. So, but country music television has been very successful with reality shows that star rednecks, and they're kind of redneck themed. And so this is the latest. It's profiling people's redneck families. So I'm sure you will be eagerly finding these episodes because I know you have a love of reality television.
No, of course. I was a real early reality fan. I watched The Real World on MTV. There was this country redneck kid who had never met a gay person in his life, had never been to a big city in his life. And it really was good. And Survivor was the real deal.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you can say that for Survivor. I mean, they did have scenes from the very first few seasons that were filmed on sound stages. I mean, I can't agree with you about Survivor, but The Real World, I've heard a lot about that a lot of people liked it because of the social issues that it did bring up. And, lots of, people I know used to watch it. My grandmother watched it.
Survivor, I mean, it was a neat concept.
Hasn't Survivor pretty much just stayed the same, though?
Totally BS now.
See, I always thought it was totally BS before knowing what we know today about how scripted and planned reality shows are.
It was less contrived in the beginning because they didn't put as much effort into it. And I have actually auditioned for a cooking show.
Yes.
A cooking show. And, I mean, they tell you, it's really not about your cooking.
It's not, but I feel like you're giving Survivor too much credit because you watched it back in the day. I mean, it's just like every other show.
That's what the taster told me. He said, look, nobody really cares. People watching don't taste your stuff.
I mean, back to this. Would you be interested in something like My Big Redneck Family?
No. I believe it is all contrived. I mean, look at your favorite show, like Honey Boo Boo.
My favorite show.
You're the one who likes that Toddlers and Tiaras.
Oh my God! I only ever watched it at your house.
Wait, but you're the one who told me about it.
I don't believe that for a second. One of the newest debuts in the news world, and something that really shocked the financial and business information world last year, was Maria Bartiromo, the Money Honey's exit from CNBC, and she joined Fox Business. So, if you would...
tennis player, Martina...
Not Maria Sharapova.
No.
No, but have you heard of her, the Money Honey? She's this very attractive, very well-spoken woman who was like a core of CNBC for 20 years.
I have heard of her.
Yeah, so she was very...
I finally remembered the name of that cartoon TV show. It was called Drawn Together.
Well, we have moved on, Annika.
I know, I'm just telling you the name of it in case anybody wanted to.
Okay, well, good for you. Good for your brittle memory. So anyway, Maria Bartiromo, after being kind of a bedrock of the CNBC financial network, chose to move to Fox, and I'm sure they gave her a very lucrative package because Fox has Fox Business has been somewhat of a disappointment for News Corp since its launch in 2007. And I think that sometimes business professionals have a hard time taking Fox Business seriously, and I understand that perspective. So her financial analysis program debuted on the 24th. It runs for 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's called Opening Bell with Maria Bartiromo.
Been around for a while.
What? So it's hosted. So she's the Fox Business's global markets editor. She replaced the final 20 minutes of Imus in the Morning simulcast that, for whatever reason, has found a home on Fox Business.
Imus in the Morning, yes. Amazing that it's on any business show for any reason. Amazing
that it's on, period. Let me just volunteer that, and of course Fox, he was on his television home, his simulcast was MSNBC until he called the African-American women nappy-headed hoes. And of course, someone calls people nappy-headed hoes and Fox picks them up. I mean, who else is going to pick you up?
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I always hated him anyway.
He seems like such kind of off his rocker, if I'm going to be a little judgmental for a second.
I mean, he's a douche.
Yeah, and he's even a douche to his co-host. I don't know if you've ever, watched it.
That Robin? No, wait a minute.
That's Howard Stern.
That's Howard.
And so Maria Bartiromo, she's written several books, and even though she is a television personality, she's seen as more serious. Do you think that the addition of such a heavy hitter like Maria to the Fox Business roster will increase the viewership of Fox Business?
It's all bullshit. All the media is bullshit.
And especially with these business channels, it's like if you want real information, you're either going to read like Forbes or something, or you're going to watch Bloomberg. Let's just be honest, that's where the serious financial professionals go. FBN and CNBC are entertainment.
Even in addition to that, I was listening to an old comedy special today.
In a lot of these programs, especially the commercial ones on commercial networks, the only difference would be the interchangeable kind of hosts. So having Maria Bartiromo, having a celebrity essentially be your news presenter could help.
It's too late.
It's too late for what?
Yeah. They have no legitimacy anymore.
Well, obviously News Corp and, Maria Bartiromo and the staff of Fox Business would say that they do have legitimacy.
Well, all of the mainstream media says that they have legitimacy, but in reality...
Well, what gives you legitimacy?
People essentially really are sheep.
Well, and people watch them.
If it's on the news...
Doesn't that confer... doesn't mean...
And I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Mainstream media, doesn't matter who they have in there, has no legitimacy.
But to play devil's advocate, in all of these organizations, they are human. Of course they are going to pick, choose, and have selectivity.
Yes, but the point of news and the point of journalism, supposedly,
supposedly,
is that they should be objective.
But see, I feel like that is the industry of journalism BSing everyone. Because how can you be objective when you are a human being with perspective, with consciousness? You are invariably going to be partial. So I think even think that's a goal you should try.
That's originally a lot of the old-timey newscasters.
Well, and yes,
when it was developing, when the field was developing, it was a lot more objective. It really was. Hey,
I disagree.
This is the only way to find out about this stuff, so here you go.
Give 1 second. Okay, so I disagree, and I think that's a very standard narrative that you're giving. But and everyone likes to say Edward R. Murrow, blah, 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 whatever. The thing is, if you go beyond that era, it was, the earliest pieces of journalism before those people was the penny press, was extremely sensationalist, was extremely, low cost and very partisan. And even, if you look at, the evening news from the 40s, 50s, whatever, I mean, that had a very strong pro-American bias and was reflecting the Cold War. So I don't think that we can say that was objective at all.
Was that really news, or was that governmental?
It was the journalists who chose that perspective. No, but 80 to 90% of that was journalists self-censoring because they knew what the expectations were of them, both from a commercial perspective and a political perspective. It wasn't the government that would fire them; it was their own employers. We got such off on a tangent. Okay, so yeah. So Maria Bartiromo's moved to Fox Business. Let's listen to some clips from saying goodbye to CNBC and then being interviewed about her new show.
Some people are special. Bill, I got to tell you, I have a lot of friends, and I love you dearly at CNBC, but the guys on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange really have been my family for so many years. Yeah. And I will never forget how they just warmly welcomed me 20 years ago here and just educated me, helped me, brought me along. I mean, I just love all of you. And not just the traders and the specialists, but also the security guards. I mean, there's so many friends that I have here. I'm going to miss them so much.
You're going to take the blame for that, are you? All right. David Darst of Morgan Stanley Wealth Management.
Hello, David.
How are you, David?
My dear friend.
You're weaker-eyed than she is.
I want to say to all your fans, everybody out there, she is more beautiful in person. You've asked me this question than she is on television. And she's
so are
wonderful.
you, by the way.
She is wonderful to all of her staff. And
I am coming back, I'm not going that far. I mean, I'm
going to move higher, and that's a great send-off to Maria.
I love you.
Right,
I love you.
Maria Bartiromo, who launches her daily program Opening Bell tomorrow from 9 to 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network.
Hi there, Harry. Good to see you.
And welcome to Fox. The Wrap on Business News channels, if you're an average viewer who doesn't know that much about the market, can be hard to follow.
I think it is. I mean, I think that what has happened in business information is, particularly on television, is a lot of short-termism. And it's unfortunate because that's not the way to invest. Knee-jerk reactions. And when I first got into the business 25 years ago, it was all about the markets. First, it was the individual investor explosion and, people wanting to be armed with information 24/7. Then it was globalization and the dot-com boom and bust. Things have changed quite a bit. I think today viewers don't want short-termism. And I think today viewers want a much broader, deeper perspective of where their money is and what it's doing over the long term. People will tend to, talk about things they like and talk about things that they're invested in. That doesn't necessarily bother me as much as the short-termism. I think today viewers are smarter than they ever have been before. People understand that the onus is on them to get armed with as much information as possible and then make your decisions. You can't trust anybody and everybody. You have to take pieces of information and then make your own decision about investing. When you see someone on air or on an interview and that person repeatedly is not answering the question and repeatedly is looking like something's gone awry or something's not right, well, guess what? It probably isn't.
You spent 20 years at CNN.
I was at CNN for 5 years.
And then
CNBC for 20 years.
Excuse me, I meant to say CNBC. Was it a hard decision to leave?
It was hard. It was a tough decision because I had the most unbelievable 20 years of my life at CNBC. I loved it. But I think after 20 years, I was looking at the next 20, and I was deciding what's best for me. And I realized that today, I think people are looking for broader perspective, analysis, longer interviews in some cases,
Was there
a little
pressure?
less short-termism.
Pressure to get people in the chair, out of the chair. Everybody's got a short attention span. Everybody's got a remote in their hands.
Well,
in-depth stuff.
there is a pressure on having 4 and 5 people on the air at once, and then people start yelling at one another. I mean, that's today.
Hollywood squares.
So there was a pressure in that regard, and I think that there is room for many alternatives. People want alternatives, by the way. I think.
Beside being on the air for a couple hours every morning at Fox Business Network, you're also going to have a Sunday show, which is a very important program on Fox News because it's the lead into media buzz.
That's exactly.
So I'm counting on you.
I'm your lead-in.
How do you envision that program adding to the conversation?
I want to ask that business guy, why do you have $1 trillion overseas? What is it going to take in terms of tax reform that's going to get you to take that money back to America? Why can't you find the employees that you need with the right skill sets required to actually thrive in your business? This is such a big issue that people cannot find the employees that they need. They can't hire because they don't have the right skill sets. All of these issues, but no one really picked up the phone, Howie, and said, hello, money, honey. I mean, come on, But it was something that, the New York Post had a rhyme, and they went with it. But the truth is I feel like my viewers know who I am, and my sources know who I am, and I never felt that it was belittling me in any way. So I let it roll off my back, and I'm thrilled to have been noticed. It's not a big deal.
Okay, honey. Well, we will always refer to you.
So one more question about this, because we did veer off a little bit. Do you think that having, I know you said you were really skeptical, and I'm not asking you from a news quality perspective. I'm asking you from a business sense, from a market share sense, because that's what a commercial network cares about. Do you think that this very, in the financial business sector, who's a very big name, going to Fox Business, do you think that will help this fledgling network steal viewers from CNBC?
I don't think that it's going to do anything. I think that the people who are really in the know are going to get it from a more credible source.
It's news-flavored entertainment, I guess, is what I would say. But, okay, so moving on to the next one, which this news show actually began the exact same day that Maria Bartiromo did, and it's Ronan Farrow Daily on MSNBC. So Ronan Farrow is Mia Farrow's son, and possibly Frank Sinatra's son as well. So he just kind of rose up out of nowhere. So let's listen to some clips, and then we'll come back and talk about that.
Hello and welcome to Ronan Farrow Daily. I'm Ronan Farrow. I'll be here daily. Before we get started, I just wanted to say I am so excited you're joining me. I'm also new to this. What's going on here? Which camera do I look at? Who knows? Our executive producer will yell into my ear. But enough about me. It's time for today's headlines.
The president was in full control of the country nearly 72 hours ago. Now
that the Olympics are over, we need to watch the behavior of the Russians.
So Yanukovych hasn't been seen in public since Saturday. Where he was last seen is Crimea, one of the last areas of Ukraine where revolution hasn't taken hold. It's a Russian stronghold where anti-American sentiment runs high.
We showed this video to one woman, and she started crying.
Who is a frequently naked champion of all kinds of female beauty. Lena initially brushed off the controversy. She said anyone can see her unretouched body on her show. That is true. She is naked a lot. Lena is a modern feminist, the kind that is comfortable with her own body, but also grateful for a little airbrushing. And aren't we all? Welcome back. Grab your popcorn and a lot of Red Bull. Talking and talking and talking and talking and talk. Senator Bernie Sanders. So I'm here, au naturel, for your announcement that you said you're prepared to be a candidate for president. A lot of people cheering to that, a lot of strong reactions. That will mean a whole lot of fundraising, and campaign finance reform is a big issue that you have championed extensively this week. And this is why I wanted to ask this. A Supreme Court decision could come and change fundamentally the way that campaign finance is handled on the basis of individual contributions. That's McCutcheon versus the Federal Election Commission, and it would end the limit, potentially, on how an individual can give over a 2-year period.
Ronan, here is my great fear. And my great fear is that both economically and politically, this nation is moving toward an oligarchic form of society where a handful of billionaires are going to control the political life and the economic life of this nation. You can do everything you want to create a right-wing agenda which will benefit the wealthy at the expense of everybody else. This is what oligarchy is supposed to be about.
Who in Congress are standing in the way of campaign finance reform, in your opinion?
Look, virtually all Republicans, not all, but virtually all. They understand that at the end of the day, when you have families like the Koch brothers or Sheldon Adelson, people who make billions and billions of dollars every single year, their wealth is increasing. They can spend hundreds of millions of dollars on campaigns which by and large will benefit Republicans. Are there some billionaires who help Democrats? Yes, there are. But the vast majority of the money are going to go to right-wing extremist candidates. So from Mitch McConnell's perspective, and he himself, as the minority leader in the Senate, has been very active on these issues, he understands that opening up the floodgates of corporate money, of billionaire money, will help the right wing.
I do have to caveat there, and we have a lot I want to get to, so I won't dwell on this, but I do believe the numbers are big for both parties on this. We have, billionaire, as you said, oligarch money flowing into both sides here.
You do not want a political system which is heavily dominated by wealthy individuals. And Ronan, I think people have no idea about the amount of time that members of Congress in both parties, that candidates spend. All they do is raise money. They spend half their lives raising money. And you've got to go where the money is, and the money is with wealthy people. So if you're going to the wealthy to ask for campaign contributions, your political views are going to be shaped by that reality. You're not worried about the high unemployment in this country. You're not worried about the need to create millions of jobs. You're not worried about the fact that we have more people living in poverty than any time in our history. What you're worried about are the needs of the wealthy and the powerful. So I believe very strongly that we have got to junk this campaign finance situation we're in right now.
And this is what is fishy about this. And I kind of get it that he's like, pretty attractive, and he's like a celebrity in a sense, and he's like smart. But all of this did seem kind of very sudden. And not only that, but get this. So his show debuted February 24th. And in February 2014, he received the Cronkite Award for Excellence in Journalism. And his show had been on the air for 3 days. That's fast.
I didn't even know he had a show, so there you go.
I've seen a little bit of the show, some clips. It's just your standard MSNBC fare with, him. I mean, he's kind of attractive and he's witty. Yeah. But besides that, it's just...
Who gives it out? I mean...
I have no idea. It could be Mia Farrow for all I know. It could be Frank Sinatra from the grave. I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so the next show, which debuted on March 5th, is a reality show. It's dance-themed. And it's basically like Dance Moms, but kind of more urban and has more attitude. And it's on Lifetime television for women. So naturally, you should be watching it. And I know that you love shows like this, and you love Dance Moms. So you're totally going to be watching Bring It, right? About these intense young dancers who dance to hip hop and all their tight leotards and like do booty dancing, and this is your.
Because 10-year-old twerking is where it's at.
That is where it's at. So I know you don't have Lifetime because you don't have anything, but if you did, you would totally be watching this show, right?
Oh, yeah.
Programs like this are very cheap, and they bring in a lot of ratings. They recoup their money very quickly compared to...
those reality shows in general don't cost all that much.
And then there's also, that began March 9th, that I have watched every week so far. I think it's been 2 weeks, and of course, we've talked about this many months ago when it was first announced on The Word. But we talked about Lindsay on the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Oh.
Let's listen to some clips of Lindsay.
It's good, and then there's that thing in my head where it's like, oh, time to sabotage.
We woke up yesterday to her mom getting a DUI.
He's just being
When Lindsay feels like she has been tricked, it's really intensely triggering for her.
If I were to do that, I lose and you lose. So until I f up, you can't assume I am going to.
All right, we're back now at 8:11 with what's trending today.
All right, we're going to start today with Oprah's rather blunt advice to Lindsay Lohan. You guys probably know that they're working together on a documentary about Lindsay's struggle to get her life in check. But in a clip released just recently, in the face of Lindsay's tantrums and reckless behavior, Oprah says she has finally had enough. Take a look.
Don't put words in my mouth. It's exactly not what I signed up for.
Do you want me to scrap all of yesterday?
Yes.
This is exactly what everybody said was going to happen, and I believe differently. I really do want you to win. I really do. If that isn't what you want, I'm okay with that. You know, I will tell these guys to pack up and leave today.
No, it's not that I'm not ready to do that. I do want to.
You need to cut the You really do.
Well, Lindsay is calling this the project, really the last shot at getting her life together. By the way,
It's not a reality show. I do know that my intentions going into it were really pure and really honest and real. And I really appreciate all that's happened and all that she's done for me.
What would you call
I love
that
the fact
shit?
that I can call Oprah on the phone and be like, Oprah, can we talk right now? And she just calls me within 2 minutes.
That's
and
pretty
I
hot.
trick her to leaving voicemails so I can just have Oprah's voicemail.
That's pretty
She's
amazing.
the
Is she
coolest
a
person
friend?
ever.
Is she like a mentor? Is she like, what would she say, a counselor? What would she be? What
She's
is she?
a little bit of everything, I think.
Did
you say that on the
I'm
carpet?
the one who said it to her on the
She called me
carpet.
about that.
No, she called you right there. She freaked out. She literally, no, let me tell you, like, she almost started crying on the carpet. She was so emotional about that. She was like almost lost it. She really did. I wanted you to know that.
She's amazing.
Yeah. I wanted you to know that she was really happy about that.
She's been a blessing to me, so she's great.
What do you?
My grandmother's dream is going to come true. I'm taking her on the chew, so things are looking up.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Have you?
It's a hot mess.
Well, have you been? Have you seen any bits of the show online or on the Soup? I'm sure the Soup is skewering it.
I don't even think they have the Oprah Network on Hulu.
Oh, okay. Oh. But, you know, I'm sure Joel McHale is just skewering this show. You know, Lindsay documents actress Lindsay Lohan's rehabilitation, recovery, and return to the entertainment industry following a public period of struggles in her personal life and career. This was...
She doesn't want recovery. She wants any money she can get.
And, you know, I don't want to admit it, but after seeing the first 2 episodes of the show, I don't believe that she wants recovery either, to be honest.
See, and I didn't even need to see the show to tell you that.
It's really sad, and, you know, for whatever reason, I do have this affinity for Lindsay Lohan, but watching the show made me feel less for her, because I don't think that, you know, I don't think that she is in the mindset that an addict needs to be for recovery. Not that I'm necessarily an expert on it, because I'm certainly not.
Step 1, admit you have a problem and want to get help.
Well, and she has that step down, but the thing is that she still blames a lot. She externalizes a lot of blame on all the people around her, and she just gets so overwhelmed it focuses on very minute things, and just doesn't seem to have any perspective at all.
Do you think she really wants help?
See, but I think she believes that she does, but I don't think that she's really ready for it. It doesn't seem like that. And, you know, in this...
You really think that she thinks she wants help?
I think you can convince yourself of a lot.
I mean, a lot of compulsive liars, they say that.
Which
you know,
I think that she may have some.
To be true.
And she's an actress, so she's a professional liar. So, and I'm not doing that to disparage, you know, I have a background in theater too, but that's a big component of it, is you can become an amazing liar. And one of the kind of annoying things about this is the terminology, and I think that this may indicate something. I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of these, the newer crop of reality shows, their networks have not been marketing them as reality shows. They've been saying that they are, quote, docu-series. And I've heard that, like, this buzzword in the past year. I hope that most people can see through that just means reality show. Yeah. You know, what makes Lindsay better than Anna Nicole's show, you know?
You know, we've got the dumbing down almost of culture. in a lot of ways.
I mean, I think that's really easy to say, but it's just like I mean, I don't know. There's always been lowbrow culture though. But that was the critique of like rock and roll and like jazz and like ragtime and like musical theater when it first began. I mean, that was the same critique of those too. It's the dumbing down of culture.
I don't know if people would have called those guilty pleasures though.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you can go back in the press back then, and those.
You cannot say that any of these shows are considered art.
Well, they're not considered art now, but wait a few generations and, you know, now we consider ragtime to be like, you know, American heritage, but back in the day, it was held responsible for bringing the youth to alcohol and brothels. So these things, these perspectives...
I know that, but I mean, music in general is a form of art. You know, these reality shows, which are supposedly non-scripted, how is that art? That's
well, then
just
if it...
display of, you know, everyday life.
Well, do you consider, you know, film art?
Well, if it's scripted, then yes.
But you can't define art, though. Art is so subjective.
Right, but it's still a display of skill.
Skill. What is a skill?
The big difference.
But I feel that these arguments could be levied against so many things that we now see as skillful today. I mean, really, it's like, where do we draw the line art, not art? And I think my point is we can't.
No, I think for something like this, we can't. If it's supposed to be realist, you know...
But we know that it's not. Me and you know that there is a team of people who plan this and use creative energy towards crafting storylines. So isn't that... Isn't that like a script? Isn't that like theater? Isn't that like film? It's theater trying to disguise itself.
You know, putting a bunch of people in a room, no matter how clever it is, doesn't make it art.
Probably don't consider some things that have been performance art as art then.
No, because they're performing it. They're actively doing it. They have their stage and they have their venue and they do it.
But but Lindsay's...
There and it's raw.
I don't see. I think your distinctions are so slippery.
There's editing. It's not actually real.
So what about improv? Is that not art?
If you take a camera or you take an audience and you stick it there, then yes, it's art.
But that
bunch of people in a room
just
and
said
as usually a general premise.
You just
there's editing. They edit it.
But there's a film. But there's editing in film.
Not reality anymore. Her reality show is it's not just raw greed.
That's not what I'm talking about. I don't know what it is. I don't know what motivated it. But I mean, it's money, pretty much. But the reasons that you're saying, listen to me. Listen to me. Hello. Okay, like so much of theater is very similar to these reality shows. I mean, you say that it's unscripted, but we know it is. But Lindsay, we know it is scripted, and we know that there are so many people who are using creative energies to figure out plot lines, and there's a whole team behind this. So how is it different than a staged show?
Because they're saying it's not. They're outright lying to you.
But isn't a storyline?
Oh no, maybe that's what it is to me. It's the lie.
You're not blind. You're not buying the lie.
You and I are intelligent enough to see through it.
I know,
and
but
trying to pull one over on people.
But neither one of us believe the lie that this is totally impromptu. You know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, we are out of time, so we didn't get to a lot, and we didn't get to this Olympics thing, whatever. But so yeah, there's some interesting moves on the news front, and then this white gay rapper show and Lindsay Lohan. So television continues to raise standards all around. I really like having you on as like my constant companion here, because we went off on tangents, of course, but we started talking about like reality shows, Lindsay Lohan, and we had at the end a very nice, I think, a good debate about the meaning. What is art and the definition? And I think in the digital age, as media and entertainment continues to evolve, that question becomes harder and harder to answer. So I want to thank you for being on The Word yet again, Annika.
Oh, of course, glad.
Have a lovely day. Peace and blessings, everyone. Thank you for listening. Blah, 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 blah.